Picture the boxing ring of business. On one side, you have the old reliable fighter. Sustainable, cash flowing, profitable from day one. This fighter's slogan is, build a business that works and do it better than everyone else. On the other side, you have the kind of crazy fighter. Pick the biggest problem to solve, the needle in a haystack. This fighter's catchphrase is, chase the vision, the profits will follow. Each fighter gets insulted and chirped by the other side, but really, either one can win. What kind of fighter are you? It all comes down to your definition of reality. Let's go back to college for just a second. Remember that risk-reward trade-off graph? It's basically just a diagonal line going from the bottom left to the top right. Think US government bond on the bottom left and boom or bust pharma company on the top right. Really, really straightforward. In theory, this works fine for investing. It only breaks when you try to use it to figure out your life. Let's say you want to invent bed sheets that make themselves. How risky is that? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a lemonade stand and 10 being mining the moon, maybe a 7. If you ask 10 different people, you'll get 10 different answers. My point is, no one really knows. Most people will tell you it's impossible, you should move on. If that were true, there would only be a tiny amount of businesses which would all be competing with each other. And thankfully, that's not the case. You can't base your idea of what's possible on someone else's opinion, especially when that someone else isn't even in the game. And that ability right there is what creates visionaries. It's called distorting reality. Listen to this crazy story about Steve Jobs. In 1984, Steve Jobs asked one of his engineers, Larry Kenyon, to reduce the max boot time by 10 seconds. Kenyon, stunned by the ask, said it wasn't possible. Jobs then said, if it would save a person's life, could you find a way to shave 10 seconds off the boot time? Jobs found the nearest whiteboard to make his point even more clearly. If 5 million people each wasted 10 more seconds booting the Mac every day, that would equal 100 lifetimes every year. Kenyon returned a few weeks later with code that booted the Mac 28 seconds faster. Just like magic. See, Jobs had this reality distortion field that let him suspend his team's disbelief, making even the most outlandish tasks seem somehow doable. It's what led to the creation of Apple's best products, including the one in your hand right now. I know, Steve Jobs was a legend, most people aren't like him. But I'm using that story to illustrate a bigger point. Stop adopting someone else's reality as your own. Advice is rarely ever useful, only in certain rare instances. Most of the time, you should just throw it out. Being more detached from a commonly held idea of reality makes you far more powerful. Create your own reality distortion field and see where it leads you.